Hello, friends. How are you guys doing today? Well, I want to talk about our friend Asaduddin Owaisi. Well, he's in news again. He's in the news for, in my opinion, speaking the truth. In a recent rally in Kanpur, apparently he said, well, it was in Urdu. I'm doing the English translation. Please remember, guys, Yogi Adityanath will not be the chief minister forever. Modi will not be the prime minister forever. We Muslims will not forget this. We will remember this. Allah will destroy you through His strength. Things will change. When things change, who will come and save you? When Yogi is gone, when Modi goes to mountains, who will come and save you from Muslims? Well, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. He's just threatening people. Well, to his credit, he was telling the truth. He was telling what he truly believes in. Let's be honest here. His dream is to establish an Islamic India. He sometimes cannot hide his true emotions and speaks the truth. And that's what happened here. The slip of tongue, but he told the truth. Now he's backpedaling and he's doing some damage control. And he's trying to fool the people saying, oh, that's not what I said. I meant this, I meant that. Yeah, right. We all know what he said. We all heard it. We know this is not the first time. Him and his brothers have this habit of sharing what's truly in their heart once in a while. What I would like to do in this episode is to give you some background information on this guy, Mr. Asaduddin Owaisi, so you can see why he acts the way he does, all right? Because there's a reason why people like him behave this way, all right? So let's look at his background first. He's the president of this AIMIM party, right? I think it stands for All India Majlis Ittihadul Muslimin. I hope I got the accent, the pronunciation right. This is based in the city of Hyderabad in India. This is where it gets really interesting. Okay, this party is based off Hyderabad. He's the president of this party. Let's look at the party itself. Let's look at the history of this party. This party was originally called just MIM, not AIMIM. There was no All India party. It was simply MIM. That means Majlis Ittihadul Muslimin. Later, in 1957, it was renamed as All India MIM. Who renamed it? None other than Mr. Owaisi's grandfather. So it runs in family, okay? Now, I looked up the meaning of this party's name because I'm not an expert in Urdu. So I said, what is this? What does it mean? What does this Majlis Ittihadul Muslimin mean? Well, apparently it means a council for unity of Muslims. You follow me? A council for the unity of Muslims. Not for Hindus, not for Christians, not for Buddhists, not for anybody else, just Muslims. See my point? The party's agenda is very clear. It's only for Muslims, even though it tries to fool these days. It tries to fool people saying that they are for all minorities and Dalits. But that's not true. The party's name itself tells you the truth. It's only for one religion. So it's a clear indication of their agenda, true agenda, right? There's no confusion there. Now, it doesn't stop here. You might wonder, why did they rebrand or rename the party from MIM to AIMIM in 1957? Right? That's what you're probably thinking. But in other words, where did this MIM come from? Well, let's see how it all started. The original party, MIM, was founded by Nawab of Hyderabad in 1927. Remember, back then, it was still British colony. Hyderabad was one of the 4 largest residencies under British rule, just like Mysore, Travancore, Jammu and Kashmir, right? There are a whole bunch of other princely states as well. So this was back in 1927. And remember, India was fighting for independence back then. You know, the whole Quit India and other stuff, the Mahatma Gandhi and the Congress Party, it was ramping up, and it was quite clear that India was on its way to gain independence. Nobody knew when it was going to happen, but the direction was clear. Okay. It was just a matter of time. So this party, MIM, was founded in Hyderabad by the Diwan of Hyderabad to stop Hyderabad from joining or integrating with India. You get it? They didn't want to be part of India. When eventually India gets the freedom, they didn't want that part of India. They wanted a separate Muslim state. You guys ready for this? They wanted a separate Muslim state called South Pakistan. Yes, bang in the middle of South India. They wanted a Muslim state by the name South Pakistan. So when eventually, when India got independence in 1947, right, from British said, okay, you guys are free. This MIM party, the same Oasis party, was back then, it was headed by a person called Qasim Rizvi. Okay, he was the president back then, just like our Owaisi is the president now. What did that Qasim Rizvi do when we got the independence? He and his army of 150,000 Muslim soldiers fought against Indian army because they didn't want Hyderabad to join India. So they fought against Indian army. It's called Operation Polo. Of course, they were no match for Indian army and lost the fight. In fact, more than 1,500 people, those people died. They were killed by the Indian army in those clashes. Hyderabad eventually surrendered. Hyderabad surrendered on September 18th of 1948. Remember, guys, even though India got independence on August 15th, 1947, we celebrate, the Independence Day, August 15th, Jana Gana Mana, right? Hyderabad was not free on August 15th. They had to wait for more than a year to get the taste of freedom. Why? Because the same MIM party was waging a war against Indian troops, stopping them from joining India. That guy, the Qasim Rizvi guy, the president of that MIM party back then, 1947, he was a Muslim fanatic, right? He truly believed in the superiority of Muslim race, and he believed in Muslims' right to enslave Hindu population. Now, by the way, this is a very common theme shared by most of the Islamists. They truly believe that they're far superior to Hindus and they have the fundamental right to enslave Hindu population. And by the way, this is what led to the formation of Pakistan, if you think about it, because they didn't want to be part of India because they thought they're superior and they didn't want to live under Hindu rule. So let's see what happens next. So as I said, 1947, India gets independence, but Hyderabad doesn't join because of this MIM party. They fight against any unification, and eventually Indian army goes in, defeats them, and Hyderabad joins India on September 18th, 1948. And what India also did was they banned this party. They banned this MIM party. Why? Because they were fighting against us, right? They banned this party and they threw this guy, the head of that party, Mr. Qasim Rizvi, in prison, sorry. And so Hyderabad was finally free. All good, right? Well, not really. So he goes to prison, and fast forward 1957. In 1957, this guy, Qasim Rizvi, he strikes a deal with Indian government. He's still in prison, but he strikes a deal with Indian government. The deal is that he would be released from the prison on the condition that he would go to Pakistan and settle there. In a way, Indian government kicked him out of the country and let him settle in Pakistan. I'm not sure why they offered him this deal. I have this suspicion that maybe India was negotiating with Pakistan because maybe there were some Hindu prisoners in the Pakistan prisons. So they were trying to get them over to India. So maybe it was a, prisoner exchange kind of program where we would give some of these folks from our prison and we will get something from the other side. I don't know. Either way, he managed to leave Indian prison and go to Pakistan and live there. That's where he died eventually. Okay, he spent the rest of his life in Pakistan. But before leaving for Pakistan, he meets with this lawyer. Why? Because he wanted to hand over this party responsibilities. Remember, he was head of the MIM party. Even though it was banned, he truly believed in that. He wanted the party responsibilities to be handed over to somebody who's going to stay back in India. So he meets with this lawyer and he hands over this responsibility to his lawyer. And who is this lawyer? Well, it's our great Owaisi's grandfather, Mr. Abdul Wahid Owaisi. Yes, guys, this was our friend Owaisi's grandfather was that lawyer who got the responsibility of the party from this Qasim Rizvi in 1957 before that guy went to Pakistan. Well, as you can see, this Owaisi's family has been associated with this party for a long time. They share these ideals, they share this ideology, they believe in the same common goals. So no wonder that the previous guy handed over the responsibility to Owaisi's grandfather. So this was in 1957. And as I said, Owaisi's grandfather was a lawyer, smart guy. So now, remember, MIM was banned in India. So they couldn't operate under the same name. So they had to rename it. So what they did, they threw in this All India at the front. It was still MIM, but they said All India MIM. You see the point? So it's the same party, same people, just a slight little brush up at the top. Okay? So they could legally start the party again and start competing or fighting these elections. So within 3 years, by 1960, the party was fighting local elections and winning seats in municipal elections. The rest is history. So now you know where Mr. Owaisi's party comes from. What are the roots or what is the background history of his party? This is a party that fought for making Hyderabad into a South Pakistan. They didn't succeed, by the way, thank God. But you think they have given up the dreams? You think they have a different ideology these days? You must be kidding. Now you can see why people like Owaisi talk about teaching Hindus a lesson. Why they dream of a day when they will take the control back and teach everybody a lesson, right? Remember, the founding ideology of this party believed in Islamic superiority. They truly believed in their right to enslave Hindu population. Now, they can't openly say these things in current India because they would be in trouble, but this is what they believe in. And sometimes the truth comes out, just like it did in their election rally in Kanpur. Okay, sometimes the truth comes out. That's what they believe in. All of their words and actions and even the party name, as I explained earlier, all point in that direction. Unfortunately, the current generation is clueless. This is where I get a little depressing. Our current generation is truly clueless. They have no idea who they're dealing with. Our corrupt media, the journalists, they all treat people like Owaisi as if he's some brilliant politician. He's the darling of people like Barkat Dutt. Unless Indians start reading their own history, they will never understand the danger they're facing. They will never, because they have no clue what they're doing. Finally, I leave you with one more thing to show how people like Owaisi view Hindus and Indian culture. Okay? Remember, he was born and raised in Hyderabad, correct? The capital of Telangana. It was earlier Andhra Pradesh, now it's Telangana. He went to Osmania University, and today he represents Hyderabad constituency. If so, how come he doesn't speak Telugu? Telugu is the language of that state, right? He doesn't speak it. You think I'm kidding? Well, do me a favor. On YouTube, search for his interviews, okay? Even when he sits down with Telugu anchors for an interview, he refuses. He refuses to answer in Telugu. He speaks only in Urdu or English. You can see that. You don't have to trust me. Just look it up, okay? Now, if you're a clueless person, this may look like a normal thing. It's like, oh, what's the big deal? He doesn't. No, it's a big thing. Because if you have the slightest idea of his background and his ideology, then you will see why people like him refuse to be part of any Indian culture. For him, Telugu is inferior to Urdu. He doesn't think he needs to respect the people of the very state he lives in. He thinks that his religion, his race, and their language, they're all superior to Hindus. Well, Hyderabad people keep electing him. I don't know what to say. By the way, he's not alone. He's raised in a culture that believes in their superiority over Hindus. And they don't want to associate with Hindus in any shape or form. When you learn about their background and ideology, it all becomes very clear. It clearly explains why they behave the way they do. Well, look, nothing will change unless people get educated, read books, learn history, and apply critical thinking. Unfortunately, a vast majority of Hindu population is clueless. They're busy with the silly things like movies and dance and other internal rivalries. And in this process, they have no clue what they're getting into. This has been going on for more than 1,000 years, I'm sorry. And this will likely to continue unless people realize what's going on, wake up. Anyway, well, I hope you found this useful. You know a thing or two about Mr. Owaisi and his background. And if you have any comments, please leave your comments below. Have a wonderful day.